on us. Now, this is the same place. Those animals ain't leaving. Now, let me smile it up a little bit and show you guys something for a better understanding. So, now, this is Kilimanjaro, the mountain with the cradle on the top of it. And this here in Kenya, that is where Mount Zion is at. And they say the mountain of God. And you see the story here? The animal is still there. And that's where life started first. In the beginning. And those wildebeest ain't leaving. They go around in circles. And they give you the time period when they go around in circles. They don't leave. They're constantly there. And that's where life started. Yeah. That's why a lot of people don't like the story about this. Because then that would put a lot of them outside of Africa. That are inside of Africa today. So there goes the story again. That's where all the animals is at. And they're not leaving. Show you another picture. That's what it looked like at night time on top of Kilimanjaro.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's on top of the mountain. That is one of them. That's where they don't want us to go.
Now, remember when they kept saying D1 haplogroup was one of the oldest haplogroups found in America. And they kept saying, oh, it's Native American, it's Native American. Not knowing that L2 gave spring to it and also M1. That's the Jarawa. And that's also African Americans. We have to do our research before we say things. We have to. We just have to.
Exactly. So that is the story on top of the mountain. That's what it looked like here. Our ancestor landed right here. And they tell you, no cloud go over this mountain here. So it goes around it, but it will never cover it. It won't cover it. The cloud, because the mountain is very high. And the cloud sit right around it, but never on top of it. Never on top of it. And this part is left open, while everywhere is under cloud. This very point here where they said our ancestor came down, right here. They said a holy part of the story because they don't want us. Yeah. That is our story. We came from above. Now, look how they demonize our stuff. You saw they demonize it? This is the same Kilimanjaro where our ancestor came down. And look what the demons from hell have to say. You see how they're demonizing our stuff?
Yep.
How they're demonizing our stuff. They know about our story coming from there. But look at the devil from hell, if there's a place called so.
So I'm telling you, Mosiah, when you read the book of the book of Adam and Eve, this what you're showing, it's in it. I'm telling you. I gotta read it over because there's some information that I want to get out of it. This thing is deep. I'm telling you.
I always knew Jara had a presence in America just for this simple fact. If you were in Chicago in the 90s and you saw the kids who had the peppercorn hair and like the strong jaw lines and like the strong muscles in the head, you knew those people had been descendants of the Jara. You just knew it. They had the dark skin or the caramel skin. They were like very athletic. Like they used to do all the backflips and stuff like that. You kind of knew it. Now it isn't surprising. They're D1. And no one ever talks about them being from America. No one.
These animals here also had a cradle too as well. So right across from here to the other side, they too have a cradle. They too came down. That's why no matter where the animal go in Africa, they still go back to the Great Lake. And a lot of people in Africa had the story say that our spirit go back to here and waited. Because if there's a place called heaven, the only entrance to heaven is here, nowhere else. That's why when you read Islam book called the Quran, when it describes heaven, everything have to do with here. Everything have to do with here in Islam.
So when you look at Tanzania and Kenya, they give spring to M1 and also L. When I look at my clusters on my true ancestry, I see clusters all throughout Tanzania, a couple in Kenya, and like a few around Uganda. We are the oldest people on earth when you talk about African Americans. We are some of the oldest, most ancient people on earth. We didn't come late by point of admixture. No, we were already in America. We had to travel from the cosmos. When you look at the Jarawa, right? They look like African Americans. No one lives like the Jarawa but the Jarawa. Think about that.
The garden that we read in scripture was a portal to heaven, right? That's my concept of it, right?
If you
So
know,
I
you know.
always, I just had that premonition in my studies that the garden was the portal to heaven, and
Now,
when and one of the
Bro, this is groundbreaking. They're D1. That's groundbreaking. So Native Americans can't say that they're older than African Americans now. They can't say they were in America before African Americans. And the reason I say that is because proximity lies between the Jarawa and the Chicago. Proximity is there. Great peace, Yakoki.